Most students fail the SAT because of these 12 mistakes. I scored 780 out of 800 on the digital SAT, and trust me, I made a ton of mistakes on the way there. Learned really fast, and now I'm showing you exactly how to avoid every single one of them. So let's get started. So in this whiteboard, as you can see, there are 5 major mistakes that are keeping you stuck. So let's get started with mistake number 1, which is getting tricked by a partial match. In this case, I will give you an SAT question like this, and I will show you how the College Board is trying to give a trap. So in this question, let's read it. So which choice best states the main idea of the text? So it's asking about the main idea. Now let's read the text. The Metropolitan Museum of Art curates a vast collection that spans thousands of years, showcasing works from diverse cultures and time periods. So the most important words here are vast collection and diverse cultures and time periods. Some of its exhibits highlights the masterpieces of renowned artists such as Leonardo da Vinci and that person drawing large crowds. So it's saying those exhibits highlights those very famous artists. However, so here we have a change in our text. The museum also dedicates significant space to lesser known artists. So lesser known, so they're contrasting, saying that they not only show those very famous artists, but they also show less famous artists, including those from underrepresented communities whose works provide a unique perspective on historical and cultural narratives. So our prediction is that they exhibit not only famous ones, but also those who are lesser known. Now let's go to choices. Choice A, the Metropolitan Museum of Art's exhibits featuring Leonardo da Vinci attract significantly more visitors than those showcasing lesser known artists. There's nothing about the number of visitors in this text, so that's why choice A is wrong. Choice B, the Metropolitan Museum of Art showcases both famous and lesser known artists to highlight the universal power of artistic expression. Yes, it focuses on famous and lesser known artists, so let's keep this choice. Choice C, the museum exhibits featuring lesser known artists focus more on historical narratives than on art techniques. So this choice is wrong because there is no comparison between historical narratives and artistic techniques. It's very detailed thing, and it's too specific, and it cannot be the main idea of the text. You know what's wild? Most students don't get a low SAT math score because they're dumb, but because they have no clue what they're bad at. They solve hundreds of random, easy questions and maybe even feel productive. And that's exactly why the SAT scores stay stuck. And that's where these 13 full-length realistic SAT math practice tests come in. And those who use them improve the SAT math scores from 680 to 740, from 660 to 780, from 700 to 760. And they all use these exact 13 tests. Every test feels exactly like the real SAT, but the real power? The weakness analysis system. After every test, it breaks down your performance, not just by topic, but by skill. So go to the description of this video, click the first link to get access to the 13 SAT math practice tests and start your weakness analysis system. And if just one of these tests helps you find 2 weak spots, that's already 20 to 40 extra points right there. Even if you're already good at math, these practice tests help you a lot, because at that level, it's not about learning new formulas, but it's about finding those tiny mistakes that keep you stuck below 780. And these tests show you the small gaps that normal prep books or YouTube videos never catch. The exact things that separate a 700 from an 800. And here's the best parts. The first test is completely free. Sign up, take the test, and get your personalized weakness analysis report for free. So click the first link in the description, start your free test, and begin boosting your SAT math score today. And in addition to that, this wrong answer choice includes real words from the passage, but with a twist. And for choice A and C here includes real words from the passage, like historical narratives. Let me show you the same exact word, historical narratives. So it's using the exact same phrase, but it adds a misleading comparison, more on historical narratives than artistic techniques. So make sure that you don't fall for it. And that's why choice C is wrong. Now let's have a look at choice D. The Metropolitan Museum of Art originally displayed only famous European artists, but has since expanded to include artists from various backgrounds. There's nothing about European artists, so we can eliminate this choice. So the best choice here is choice B. So as you can see, that's the mistake, which is getting tricked by a partial match. Some sort of phrase is used from the passage. It does not mean that that is the correct answer. Now let's move on to mistake number 2, which is choosing an answer that is true but not the best supports. Now let me show you through a real SAT questions I created. So which choice, if true, would most directly supports the analyst's claim? A leading online retailer recently introduced a chatbot designed to enhance customer interactions by offering instant responses to inquiries. So it's a chatbot and it will give you responses instantly within seconds. Initially, some company executives worried that customers who engage with the chatbot would feel less inclined to reach out to human representatives, reducing overall engagement with the company. However, so here we have a shift, contrast. Company analysts report that their survey data shows these concerns were unwarranted. So they first thought that if we have a chatbot, then people will not be inclined to reach out to humans. But that is actually not true. Instead, I believe my prediction is that it's actually increases the overall engagement with the company. Now let's look at choices. Choice A, most surveyed customers who contacted the company indicated they were unaware of the chatbot before their first interaction. This is not something that is stated, and we don't really care whether they were aware of that chatbot before or after the first interaction. That's why choice A is wrong. Also, yep, so now let's look at choice B. Most surveyed customers who contacted the company indicated that they primarily sought help with complex issues requiring human assistance. Well, there's nothing about complex or simple issues. That's why we can eliminate choice B. Many surveyed customers who contacted the company indicated that the chatbot helped them feel more comfortable reaching out to human representatives. Yes, that's the exact same thing that the passage says. It increases overall engagement. And engagement could be feeling more comfortable reaching out to human representatives of that company. So yes, that's the best choice here. Choice C is the answer, but still, let's have a look at choice D and prove why D is also wrong. Many surveyed customers who contacted the company indicated they would likely use the chatbot again to review their past interactions. I mean, the part that is kind of a little bit off is reviewing their past interactions, and it's not something that is related. That's why choice D is also wrong. And in this case, the mistake that a ton of students make is picking an answer that seems factually reasonable, but it doesn't directly prove the claim. As an example, many students take choice D. This choice D. And the reason why it's wrong is because this shows that users like the chatbot, but it doesn't prove whether chatbot use increases or maintains that human engagement. It has nothing to do with increased engagement. That's why it should directly connect to the claim. So now let's move on to mistake number 3. And this one is also so powerful that so many students unintentionally make this mistake. And that mistake is falling for that's a linking work as a paraphrase tra. And let me show you how it's used. The historical, which is a temple in Athens, has withstood numerous earthquakes over centuries due to its unique construction techniques. In 2020, researchers examined how similar techniques were used in Japan's temple, which has survived over 1,300 years despite frequent seismic activity. And now, the next sentence talks about the interlocking wooden joints in that temple allow the structure to flex and absorb earthquake forces without collapsing. So the first sentence talks about those earthquake-resistant techniques, and the next sentence talks about that new temple, like that temple in Japan, and its similar technique. And I believe that the missing transition must show how the second sentence relates to the first. So now let's analyze each option logically. Choice A, furthermore. Furthermore. It adds a new and additional points, but this is not just an extra detail. It explains something that is very specific, so we can eliminate this choice. Meanwhile suggests two things happening at the same time, but this isn't a timeline comparison, so we can eliminate this choice as well. That is kind of clarifies or restates something, but the second sentence is not a restatement. It's an example. So now we can eliminate this choice as well. For example, introduces a specific illustration of a very general idea, which is exactly what the second sentence here does. That's why choice D is the correct answer choice. Let me explain you that mistake. If the second sentence rewords or re-explains the first one, that would be correct. But in this case, as you saw, it's not a paraphrase, it's a specific example. Now let's move on to the next mistake. Mistake number 4. And that is picking an answer that appears in only one passage, and it's related to texts. And let's solve this question in order to understand what that mistake is and how we can fix it. Based on the texts, both authors would most likely agree with which statements? So let's read text 1. Urban planners working on stream restoration project emphasized the importance of maintaining natural vegetation along riverbanks. This vegetation not only prevents erosion but also supports wildlife and improves water quality. Many cities are now prioritizing the planting of native vegetation in their urban stream restoration efforts to counteract the effects of past urbanization. So they were talking about natural vegetation being good, and it's listing some of its benefits. Now let's read text 2. Ecologists studying urban streams have found that restoring natural vegetation along the riverbanks plays a crucial role in stabilizing ecosystems. The presence of native plants reduces erosion, filters pollutants, and provides habitat for fish and other aquatic species. As a result, many urban restoration projects focus on reintroducing these plants as a key part of their strategy. So the text 2 also says that natural vegetation is good, right? Telling some even more benefits of it. Now let's read the choices. Cities often struggle to maintain native vegetation in urban stream restoration projects, and there's nothing about struggling. So A is wrong because of that. Choice B, native vegetation is essential for protecting and improving urban streams. Yes, that sounds the right answer, so let's keep it. Choice C, urban planners focus more on reducing pollution than restoring natural vegetation. There's no comparison here, so that's why choice C is wrong. The role of native vegetation in urban ecosystems is widely debated among experts. There's no debate in both of these texts, so D is also wrong. And as you can see, choice B is the best answer choice here. So choice A mentions a struggling to maintain vegetation, but this is not discussed in both texts. That's why my recommendation is to choose an answer that both authors agree on. Now, in the next section, we will be talking more about how to prepare in the last few days of the November SAT exam. Now, let's talk about mistake number 1. You've had a good study session before, right? You've solved questions, felt like a genius, and thought, I've got this. But then what happens? You stop. You take a break for a day, maybe a week, thinking you've earned it. And just like that, the momentum is gone. Honestly, momentum is everything. A single miss a day can spiral into inconsistency. And without consistency, 1500 plus, forget about it. Here's what I did. Every day, I would spend about at least 20 minutes reviewing one section. Not hours, just 20 minutes. Keep the momentum alive and watch your progress snowball. And that's just the first mistake. The second one, oh, it's even worse because it's something that almost everyone does without even realizing it. Practice tests. They're gold, right? Wrong. At least not when you treat them like trophies instead of tools. Most students finish a test, check their score, and stop. No review, no analysis. Let me tell you something. It's not about how many practice tests you take, it's about what you do after it. Review every single question, even the ones you got right, because luck doesn't count on test day. Another thing that so many students don't do is to ask themselves these three questions. Why did I get this wrong? Why did I get this right? How can I avoid this mistake again? But that's just scratching the surface. Let's move on to the third mistake. Let me guess, you've been studying for 3 to 4 hours straight, thinking that this is what it takes. But let me tell you something, the SAT isn't just a top test of knowledge, it's a test of endurance. You definitely need breaks, strategic ones though. During my prep, I studied in 90-minute blocks, then a 10-minute break to reset. This keeps your brain sharp and ready to absorb more. And here's a question for you. When was the last time you actually practiced sitting still for 4 hours? Because if you can't endure test conditions, all that knowledge in your head, it won't matter. Now let's move on to mistake number 4. Look, I know it's tempting to follow a viral study schedule, but here's the truth. What works for someone else might ruin your chances. Are you weak in math? Focus there. You struggle with reading comprehension? Double down on that. Don't spread yourself too thin trying to do everything. You have to prioritize your weaknesses. One of the best things I did was focusing on just one major weakness at a time. It's not about doing everything, it's all about doing the right ones. And if you think that is important, wait until you hear about the mistake that every single high scorer avoids. SAT success isn't about how many words you can cram into your brain or how many formulas you can recall. It's about application. Here's my question for you. Can you actually use those formulas under pressure? Can you spot the trap answers in reading? And if you're just memorizing, you're playing defense. Understanding, that's paying offense. And the next mistake is something you might not even realize you're doing. And it's keeping you stuck in the 1400s. These are just a few of the mistakes that are holding you back, but trust me. The next ones, there's the difference between staying average and absolutely crushing the SAT. If you're serious about stats 1500 plus, stay tuned. We all know the importance of practice tests, but here's the thing. If you're taking too many tests without reviewing your answers or mistakes deeply, you're wasting valuable time. This mistake is like working out without resting. You're pushing yourself but not growing. So how do you fix this? Don't just take tests for the sake of it. When you finish one, spend a solid 2 to 3 hours analyzing every wrong answer. Understand why you got it wrong. Then go back to those concepts and review them until they are burned into your memory. Slowly but surely, you will see those scores creep higher. It's not about quantity, it's about quality. And trust me, the results will follow. So mistake number 7, thinking the SAT is just about what you know. This is a big one. Perhaps people think that if I just study the content, I will do great. But I'm gonna be really honest with you, it's not just about what you know, it's about how you take the test. It's a game, and you need to play it. Take the reading section as an example. It's not just about reading comprehension, it's also about logical thinking and strategy. You need to know how to quickly identify the right answers and eliminate the wrong ones. The same goes for math. It's not just solving equations, and it's knowing when to skip a question and come back to later. The SAT is much about smart test-taking strategies as it's about content knowledge. You can master the content, but if you don't understand the game, you're setting yourself up for failure. You've probably heard this 100 times, but time management on the SAT is make or break. If you spend too much on one question, you are leaving points on the table. I want you to imagine this. You're in the middle of the test and you've spent 10 minutes on a math question that you still haven't figured out. You know you're running out of time. Stress starts to kick in. Now imagine this instead. You've already skipped that tough question, answered the easiest one, and you're moving forward with confidence. That's the difference between having a strategy and not having one. When it comes to the SAT, time management isn't just a skill, it's your secret weapon. Anxiety is a silent killer when it comes to the SAT. And here's the kicker. Anxiety doesn't just show up on test day. It starts weeks, even months before the test. But what if you could tackle the anxiety head on before it's too late? The secret? Deep breathing exercises, meditation, visualization techniques. Imagine walking into that test center calm, confident, and completely focused. That's the power of managing your anxiety early before it takes control. And here's another one, thinking you're done once you're studied something. But the real magic happens when you go back and review. Let's say you've learned a math concept, algebra for example, but just reviewing it once won't make it stick. You need to go back to your mistakes and analyze them. Why did I get this question wrong? Was it a silly mistake, or did you really not understand the concept well? The more you review your mistakes, the more you solidify your learning. That's how you can make sure you'll never make the same mistake twice. In fact, every mistake is an opportunity to improve. And trust me, it's those small improvements that will add up to a massive score boost. We've all been there, trying to study everything the night before the test. It's tempting, I get it. But cramming does more harm than good. The SAT tests your long-term understanding of concepts, not your ability to memorize things the night before. Plus, all-nighters can leave you groggy and unfocused. Instead, give yourself some time to spread out your study sessions, focus on deep learning, and practice over time. That's the winning strategy, and trust me, cramming is not the key to success here. Let me be brutally honest with you. Consistency is almost everything. If you're studying for a few days, then taking weeks off, you're not giving yourself a fair shot. Success doesn't come from bursts of effort. It comes from steady and consistent work. Whether it's 30 minutes a day or not, or an hour, you need to show up regularly, even on days when you're tired or unmotivated. Consistency will definitely push you through. I can promise you, you don't have to be the smartest person in the room. You just have to outlast the others, and consistency is how you do that. Now, you know all these mistakes to avoid, but you also need to understand what you actually should know, which is strategies. So in this video right here, I showed you exactly how to master each and every single strategy on the SAT. So make sure to watch that video.